welcome back to Movie Review Mom. And if this is the very first time you've discovered my channel, yay, I'm so glad you're here. I hope you stay. I hope you like what you see. And I hope you get the scoop on the movies that you're interested in watching. That's my goal, is to help you with filmmaking quality and content, know where to spend your time and money. All right, so the movie I'm reviewing today is called Butter. This teen movie opens in theaters exclusively on February 25th, 2022. And of course, eventually it'll go to video on demand or streaming or whatever afterwards, usually about 10 to 17 days after it goes to theater. The movie is PG-13 and is an hour and 50 minutes. I'm going to give you an overview in a nutshell, and then I'll tell you tips for parents, themes worth talking about, interesting lines, and even recommendations for some other movies that I think you might also like. All right, so in a nutshell, a lonely, obese boy everyone calls Butter is about to make history. He's going to eat himself to death live on the internet, and everyone is invited to watch. Doesn't that sound awful? Yeah, it is. When he first makes the announcement online to his classmates, Butter expects pity, insults, and possibly sheer indifference. But what he gets are morbid cheerleaders rallying around his deadly plan. Does that sound terrible? Yes, it is. Yet as their dark encouragement grows, it begins to feel a lot like popularity. And that feels good to Butter. But what happens when Butter reaches his suicide deadline? Can he live with the fallout if he doesn't go through with his plans? What if he does go through with his plans? Well, there's a lot of drama and a lot of teenage angst, and sadly, a lot of reality in this movie, even though it is wrapped in kind of a comedy. The film was written and directed by Paul A. Kaufman, based on the book by Erin Jade Lang. Okay, so here are the things that I really liked about the movie. First of all, other than Mira Sorvino, I hadn't really seen any of the actors before, and I always love supporting new actors in Hollywood, so that's great. And the new star who plays Butter is Alex Kirsting. I thought he did a really great job, and I hope that we get to see him again soon. You get to hear some great saxophone music, and two of my sons actually played it in middle school. I loved the element of using music as therapy for teenagers especially. And so if you're a parent, I highly recommend you get your kids involved in some kind of music to help them survive their adolescent years. I like it when a group of buddies works together on a bucket list. I actually started my first bucket list when I was a teenager, and I never run out of things to add to my bucket list. It is constantly evolving, and there is such great feeling of accomplishment whenever I check something off my list. For teenagers who are really struggling with social media and their reputation, this movie may really speak to them and resonate. And I hope it does in a positive way, that they'll be able to see how to become a good, kind person and supportive of others who are really struggling on the social spectrum, in high school. Those who are on the top are probably doing okay, and then those who are struggling down on the bottom can be golden gems, hidden gems even in high school. So as parents, teach your kids to reach out to some of those hidden gems, and if they're the hidden gems, teach them to have self-confidence and know that some flowers just bloom a little late. So some of the things that I didn't like include the fact that some of the scenes just go on too long. We get it. The message is received. So cut and move on to the next thing. And there is absolutely nothing subtle about the themes of this movie. It made me really sad to see how mean teenagers can be. And of course, that's what you're supposed to feel. And the movie did a good job about that. But I just was so mad at some of these dumb teenagers. I just wanted to smack them. I never smack anybody. I'm just saying that as a form of expression. If you're a parent and you watch this movie with your kids, point out some of the behaviors that are just not acceptable. And again, how to be a kind, loving, supportive human being. So Tips for parents. There is bullying, definitely. And ask your teenager, if you watch this with them, are they experiencing that? Have they seen it take place among other students? And if so, what could they do about it? A teenager gets a tattoo. A boy flips the bird. A girl pukes in the swimming pool after getting drunk. So disgusting. Teens drink a lot of alcohol. So talk to your kids about what's appropriate in teenage underage drinking. Besides it being illegal, what are some of the other negative consequences? A girl slaps a guy and then a guy hits another guy. Boys force a guy to eat an entire stick of butter, which is, of course, how this young teenage boy got his nickname. Some themes that are illustrated very well and very powerfully are obesity, discrimination, hope, comfort food, true friends versus fake friends, popularity, peer pressure, gossip, suicide, blame, judging by appearances, self-esteem, and supporting family and friends who are working on their weight loss goals. Now, I always write down funny lines and interesting lines to give you a flavor and a taste of the movies, and you can see them all on my written review at moviereviewmom.com, but I'll share a couple of them with you. I actually didn't write down any funny lines. Nothing made me really laugh out loud because I, as a mom, was so concerned for these teenagers and some of the mistakes that they were making. But there were a lot of interesting lines. So, for example, Butter, again, played by Alex Kirsting, says, "I ate to relieve my pain. I ate to forget." And I love the connection with pain and certain behaviors. That's really true with most addictions, right? We overeat, or we gamble, or we smoke, or we do drugs, or watch porn, or I don't know, whatever that addiction is and a negative behavior that's hurting us physically, emotionally, spiritually, all of that. We do it because we're trying to mask a certain pain. So talk about that as a family too, and about what would be healthy alternatives to deal with pain and to express it, to replace negative behaviors with positive ones, and establishing habits and all of that. Really good topics. To extend that thought another time, Butter says, "I didn't want to die. I just wanted the unbearable pain to go away." Then a lesson that Butter learns along the way is there's no shame in talking with someone to get help. And ultimately, that is a big message of the movie too. Again, talk with the teens or kids that you watch this movie with and ask them, do you need help with anything? How can I support you? Can we get you to a counselor or a therapist? Or, who are you willing to talk to? Sometimes it might be a professional therapist or a counselor. Sometimes it might just be a grandparent or a religious leader or just a good friend. But try to get your teens to talk to someone and to share their feelings. All right, so overall, I thought that the movie was good. It's certainly powerful. I think it will resonate with some teenagers and possibly some parents too that are worried about their kids, and it can start some really good conversations. So the movie review mom grade I'm giving this is a B. Now, some other movies that I want to tell you about as recommendations are Archie's Final Project, which sounds a lot like this one, right? And then another one is just Mean Girl, the classic, and how popularity is everything when you're a teenager. And how do you deal with that? All right, that's it for my review. But before I go too, I also wanted to tell you about an online course I created at lifelonglearningeducation.com. I've created a bunch of them, but the one that I think applies really well to this is a course that I called Managing Depression, Anxiety, and Stress. I created it before the pandemic hit, but wow, once the pandemic hit, especially quarantine, sales for this class really skyrocketed. It's filled with tons of help, support, ideas, techniques for coping and strategies and all of that. It's a great class if I do say myself. So check that one out if you think that can be help to someone that you love. All right, have a fantastic day, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye for now.